Otro fucking podcast.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
back.
Welcome back.
How's it going, man?
It's good, man. It's good. I'm glad you wanted to do another recording. It's been a while. What's the name of your podcast? Another Otro fucking podcast.
Otro fucking podcast.
I like it
Yes.
because it's in the spirit of no name games. It's like, hey, it's just another podcast, man.
Yeah,
You know?
it's just, yeah. It's the same. Well, it's not the same. It's just one more of people talking shit. ¿Verdad?
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. So yeah,
Pero,
man. And I've
uh,
been meaning to talk to you about, since we don't have no name games anymore, I've been meaning to talk to you about all the stuff that's happened in video games for the last year, really.
oh,
Um,
let's jump. Let's jump into it right now.
the biggest thing for me, and I think you had sent me a text like when it was going down, was the problem that Blizzard was having with
Oh, shit. Yeah.
the harassment.
Yeah, man. That's
And
nasty.
it was nasty. I don't know where they went wrong. Obviously, they have a lot of issues that nobody was talking about until recently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went to BlizzCon in 2013. I got to see a lot of those executives that aren't there anymore. I got to see Chris Metzen. I
Yeah.
got to see Greg Street, Ghost Crawler. I was standing with Ghost Crawler and at a food truck right in front of the Anaheim Convention Center, and I was
Damn.
like, "Hey, Ghost Crawler," and he turns around and he goes, "Hey, because I'm just another fucking idiot, like in front of a food truck." And I go, "Hey man, it was funny because I think he thought I was trolling him, but I wasn't. I was like, "Hey man, I really appreciate what you've done for the mage class." Because everybody was always tripping that he was giving, the mage class
Yeah.
favors and shit. And he was like, all in the spirit of balance or something like that is what he told me. He looked like he was having a lot of fun. He was probably um, just wanted to get lunch, and here I come trying to bother him. But he's just one guy that spoke out when all this stuff came up. He said, "Yeah, I didn't." He's like, "I didn't see it firsthand, but I heard rumors about it,
Hmm.
and it's." Um, and then what happened with
Damn.
Afra, which was like he was like the leader of it. It's just so weird to think that that's the way that the culture was, but um, I was
Has
blown away.
has all that affected you in playing Blizzard games?
Bit. A little bit. I would be lying if I said that it didn't affect me a little bit. Um, we tend to prop our heroes up on pedestals, and
Mm.
Blizzard for me, especially Blizzard North, like before they became one Blizzard, like Blizzard North, um, and the team there before they merged with Blizzard, I thought those guys were like video game heroes. The
Yeah.
games that they were making were unlike any of the other games around. So, and you already know I'm a big fanboy, so I was like, wow, this
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
sucks. But at the same time, I thought all of the guys that I really admired are gone. The people that are left now are people that I don't even really recognize.
Well, yeah, it's a complete. I don't know if yeah, I sent you that rumor that they might be even renaming the company. They might be dissolving the Blizzard name and using some. I think it's Insight something.
Side gaming or something.
Yeah, whatever. Cafecito a las 10 de la noche. Mierda.
Bueno, son las 10 ya, pero aquí ya acá son las 9.
Okay, okay. so yeah, I mean, to me personally, I know. Okay, I'm gonna make some comments that I might get some hate, but when I hear this kind of shit, I'm always skeptical. Um, not to be cynical, but you know, there are opportunistic people that might take advantage or might, you know, maybe exaggerate something or wait till that right moment to fuck someone up. I don't know. there's some opportunistic people, and we've seen. I mean, I've seen similar. I mean, those kind of cases.
Yeah,
Right? Not
absolutely.
not not in news, like personal, like people that I know that got in trouble or made trouble being opportunistic or being a victim of someone who just wanted to
To
fuck.
ruin their life. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that'll ruin your life if somebody accuses you of that.
So whenever I hear this kind of shit, I'm like skeptical, right? But there's so much out there about what happened at Blizzard that it's kind of, you know what, this really happened.
Yeah, it must have really happened because there's just so much evidence. It's not like it's one person saying, this guy,
Yeah.
and maybe, in the cases where it could have been somebody that had a vendetta. But one of the things that's interesting to me is a lot of people kind of just walked out on Blizzard that worked there,
Hmm.
and that to me was a big sign that this was more than just one or two people that were hurt
Yeah.
by
It was
by
kind of a
by
culture there.
yeah, it was the culture, like the
Hmm.
the good old boy culture. The funny
Reminds
thing
me.
to me, yeah, it reminds me of something else. But what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say it reminds me. It's not nearly the same, but I don't know. I remember I saw this movie, Pirates of the Silicon Valley. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
I recommend it. It's a TV movie, but it tells the story of the upcoming of Apple and Microsoft. Um, so it's in. I've seen that movie like many times, and the first time I saw it was like probably like 20 years ago or
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago. But it reminds me of how allegedly, I don't know much about this. I read, I think I read a little bit in the book Steve Jobs. You know that book? Someone gave me that book after he died. That book that came out and became very famous. So I didn't read it completely, but I remember I read that too there. So I guess it's correct that Steve Jobs kind of created the Macintosh team inside of Apple,
Yeah, him and
separate
Jay
from,
Wozniak, that they were separate from the rest of the teams.
yeah, separate from the rest, and it was
Mhm.
like this very toxic thing, management, I would say, because it wasn't necessarily a culture, and it wasn't like harassment and those kind of shit. Allegedly, I mean, it's
Mhm.
not in the record. Maybe it happened, but it hasn't gone out. But what they talk about is how the toxicity of actually Steve Jobs and his management. But as what reminds me of that, why Blizzard reminds me of that is because of I can see that maybe at Blizzard that happened. Like this little group was the ones who belong to this culture separate from the rest,
Mhm.
and became very toxic and were the los perpetrators, I guess.
Yeah, and you could see it happening almost anywhere, unfortunately,
Yeah, I
because
hate that shit. Like I've had
but
fights
clicks happen
with
everywhere.
agencies.
Clicks happen. Like everybody's got, and we say this, and we say, I think Hispanics really get this when we talk about clicks because, um, you know, there's the Venezuelans, and then there's the
Oh
Cubans, and
yeah,
the
yeah.
Puerto Ricans, and the Dominicans.
You
We
know
all
what
have our
happened?
little cliques.
You know what happened to me in an I'm not gonna say agency or anything, but I remember I got some. It wasn't a fight or anything, but uh, this person didn't. I mean, hated my my attitude towards that, and it was that at this agency there was this team created for as the digital team, right? And they were even calling it Team D,
Mhm.
which is weird, right?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I mean, I
The D
think this is.
team, not the A team. The D
I,
team.
I think this is. I don't know. It was called. They were calling it Team D. So But it wasn't because of it was because of digital, right? I mean, these were girls. This wasn't. I was the only guy in the team, actually. I think.
The D.
I'm sorry.
Anyone with the D in team.
So, anyways, I was completely opposed to that.
Yeah.
And they started having el compinche, like my mom always says, el compinche, and team D here and team D there, and if the agency takes a picture, we got to take a picture separately from the agency because we're the digital guys, the digital people, and we're different. And I was such an enemy of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had this, um, exchange of thoughts, in a mildly aggressive way with with a young lady. It was short. It wasn't anything. We actually were very good friends, while it lasted. But yeah, I mean, I'm an enemy of those kind of things. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I
those
mean, it
clicks
happens
happen.
everywhere.
Those clicks happen. When
Yeah.
I first got to Zuby, I won't mention the name of the client, but I interviewed with Michelle. And when I interviewed with Michelle, one of the stories by the way, interviewing with Michelle was probably the toughest interview at Zuby because
For me, it was the easiest.
she was she was a tough lady to kind of you had to kind of get past her toughness
Mm.
and just talk to her like a regular person.
Yep.
Um, and so I went in kind of knowing that. So I tried to look past it. It was hard though because she carries this air about her, like she's the boss. She knows she's the boss of everyone, and I was trying to impress her. And so
Mm.
what I did was I said, "Hey, listen, you know, I want to do this analytics thing here. I've been doing it for some time." And she's like, "Can you tell me a time where?" She was kind of asking me like your typical interview questions.
Yeah.
She asked me one or two, but then she was like, "Let's just talk." And I thought that was great. And I said to her, "Well, I used to work at this company. I'm not going to say the name of it." And she said, "Well, I actually went to go pitch that company.
Mm.
And when I went to go pitch that company with my mom,
Yeah.
we went to this company and we went to the top floor of the building to the executive boardroom, and when we walked in it was all guys, and it
Uh-huh.
was my mom and I, and I was like, yep, that's kind of like how it was in this company. For the longest time there really were no women in positions of power,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It was really sad, and it changed. By the time I got there, that had already changed.
Yeah.
Um, but she expressed to me how difficult it was to try to get a room full of like old men to basically think about marketing to Hispanics or just marketing in general from the perspective of a woman. This was a
Mm-hmm.
woman telling the story.
Yeah.
And so they didn't lose that pitch, they walked away from it. They felt
Mm.
so bad coming out of that meeting, like their ideas weren't really heard, that they
Oh
said, "Well,
wow.
we don't want to continue." So I thought it
Oh
was really
wow.
interesting, but
Yeah.
it's just like one of those situations where I think, yeah, does it change the way I feel about the company? A little bit, yeah. Do I still want to play the games? Yes, because at the end of the day, you know what? There's still a lot of good people that work at Blizzard that just want to make games, and I will continue to support people that want to just make good games and
Oh
make have
well.
people have fun. So I try not to think too much about the bad shit because the truth is there's bad shit everywhere. I could go crazy if I
Well.
thought about that, then I wouldn't go to any grocery stores. I wouldn't play any video games. I wouldn't listen to any music. I wouldn't, read any books. I wouldn't go to any museums. I wouldn't follow any artists. I would live a sedentary life in a cave in Tibet with no running water, meditating all day.
For me, it depends, and not depend. I mean, I would understand people if they react to it in a certain way because apparently it wasn't even like a little group in Blizzard that did this and that and all the whatever is in the news, but it's about the company even knowing it and the management knowing it and who knows if supporting it or being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a problem with supporting a company that have bad apples. I have a problem with with when the company is the bad apple.
Yeah, or the bad tree.
Or the bad tree, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm iffy. I'm to be honest, and maybe I'm ridiculous or whatever, but I haven't played Overwatch ever since. I haven't played Diablo ever since. I just feel like
You were let down.
yeah, to
Yeah.
be honest, yeah. Will I ever play it again? Yeah, of course. I'm gonna install Overwatch eventually again, and Diablo. I'm gonna play it again. Probably I'm gonna want to see Diablo 4, and I'll probably play Resurrect.
Yeah, resurrected
Diablo
Diablo
2,
2. Yeah.
the remaster. But it's like
You know
fuck,
what's funny?
man.
I played the Diablo 2 beta
Mm,
and I love it. I
yeah,
think it's awesome.
I get
I
it.
I had so much fun.
Now,
I
you want
had
to know something even
I
better?
literally resurrected all my nostalgia and I didn't think about anything at all. You know what I thought about? How I felt while I was playing Diablo 2 when I was a kid. I felt like a kid again.
That's where I'm going. I never played Diablo.
Oh, that's right. You told me this. Yeah. But you
I
were
never
playing
played.
different games when you were a kid. You were playing and mostly console games. So
Well, yeah. Remember, well, since we haven't said this in other fucking podcast, but we did mention it a lot in No Name Games. I have a weird history in gaming because um there was always consoles in my house when I was a kid. Like, I don't remember a lot of the Atari, but I know that my brother had an Atari,
mhm,
and he played or whatever. And then we had the NES.
mhm.
But then after that, my mom just said, "You know what? You are, I don't know, 12 years old. Ya tú estás grande, muchacho. Déjese
Ya
pendeja."
demasiado.
So I didn't have a console or anything or anything to play with until I had a PC. So that was like a little gap there. And then I had a PC. I started playing. My PC was very bad for gaming, but I still did play a little bit.
Like a lot of us.
Yeah. But then for some reason, I just deleted all the games, uninstalled all the games, and just focused on other things like designing and web design and coding and shit. And I just left games out of, I just left gaming
Yeah.
completely. And that's the time when um I don't want to, like, I played Doom. I went through that time, the Doom 2, those games. But by 1990, I want to say like 1999, 98, I wasn't playing anything. And that was, the time of the Saturn, the PlayStation,
Yeah.
a little bit after that, the Xbox, the PS2, all that I missed. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
right, um, maybe the last few years of the PS3 generation was when I got a PS3 and started playing again. I'm talking about maybe 2000, I want to say 11. That was when I got a PS3. And to be honest, I got a PS3 for a few months. I remember I played Infamous 2, a few games. But for the longest time, it was just sitting there, being like my media center or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because it was a good media center. Honestly, the
Yeah.
PS had a lot of really good, cool
And
features.
then I got the PS4, and that's when I really like caught
Got it.
into, yeah, I really
Yeah.
got into playing a lot. Well, not a lot. I still don't play a lot. But yeah, more into gaming.
But yeah. So I mean, the the whole thing with your evolution of games, I actually started playing Blizzard games back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I feel extra bad,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
because I remember when there were just 5 guys working at that company.
Well, my very first Blizzard game was Blackthorn.
Okay, so yeah, you were playing it back then too.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
first was Lost Vikings. And I loved it. I loved strategy, and it was such an interesting concept, innovative at the time, actually, to be able to control 3 characters almost at the same time.
Yeah.
That was new, because Blizzard was always about gameplay. That's what I loved about Blizzard. You know, all the different companies out there that made games. Sega made their own games. Konami made some really good games. Activision obviously was making some amazing games. But Blizzard in particular was all about gameplay. Their graphics weren't ever the greatest graphics. If you think about it, there were a lot of games out there, like you could argue like Metal Gear Solid for the PS2 had better graphics than just about every Blizzard game that was ever created. And Metal Gear Solid was an incredible game, but Blizzard games were never really about the graphics. They were just about the gameplay, and I appreciated that. So it was, I think, a cutting edge ideology for video games. And you're starting to see that now in more companies. More companies are about the gameplay. But then again, right now, a lot of companies are just about grabbing as much money as they possibly can because they realize that video games are
Yeah.
the
Right
most
now. Yeah.
business right now that you can literally copy the code from any game right now and just create your own game, reskin it, call it whatever you want, launch it on Steam. I mean, it's not hard. It's actually not hard at all to do this anymore.
I'm I'm
So
I'm not gonna say entirely that necessarily with the game I'm playing now, but you can definitely feel um the reused assets and such. I'm playing Valhalla. I'm playing Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Um, in the last episode I did, I talked a little bit about the game. I'm enjoying it.
Mhm.
It's one of Ubisoft, which also has its own scandals,
Yeah.
very similar to Blizzard's. It's my guilty pleasure go to with games. They have very flawed games that I like
Yeah.
for some reason. Assassin's Creed being one of them. Not all of the series. I played a little bit of the first one or the second one. I don't remember. And then I never played an Assassin's Creed game. I truly caught that series with Origin, which is 3 games ago,
Hmm.
um, or 2 games ago, and since then they kind of did like this reboot on the series. Because not the reboot, but what they're trying to do is make it more of an RPG game,
Yeah.
and they started with Origin doing that, and now Valhalla is kind of the latest iteration where I feel it's kind of a full RPG now in a sense. But anyways, I'm digressing. Um, Even though I think it's the best one out of the 3 latest games,
Hmm.
it kind of bothers me that, for example, the character has the same. I'm using the female character in the game, right?
Okay.
Is using the same mocap animations from Bayek from Origins, which is a guy.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, I would have an issue with that immediately because I would be like, what game am I playing? This is confusing now.
yeah, yeah. So she runs exactly like Bayek. She everything. It's exactly like Bayek, and I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah,
like,
that kind of sucks.
what's going on? I mean, at least like you can choose a guy or a woman, right? So I tend to always create female characters in gaming. In whatever game I go with female. Um, I mean, if keep the same mocap for the guy, okay, that's fine. It's still like, you know,
It feels cheap. It feels like you were.
it feels cheap.
It
Yeah,
feels cheap. It feels like if like. Uh,
like you created a new map and tossed in everything that you already had, and that's it, and you're charging me $60
$60 for
for the
this.
map.
Yeah.
I mean, to their credit, Valhalla, it's like it has a lot of new stuff, but it's around the design of the game, like how the progression and all that. But then you have all these animations, and you will think that they would, like, after having all the mock-up. I mean, I'm guessing that Ubisoft, being the company that did it, that it is, has like a library of mock-up animations, right? Since ever. And then, but then you go to this game and you see some weird shit happening, and so clunky, and characters moving in a weird way that you would say, dude, I mean, you probably got this mock-up from, when you did Assassin's Creed fucking the third one like 10 years ago. At least, polish it, clean it.
Yeah. I
um
mean,
but I
I
mean,
would have
I don't
felt.
know, because I'm not an expert, and obviously I don't work at Ubisoft. But sometimes especially after you play, I've played Ghost of Tsushima. Have you played it?
Yeah, remember I think we talked about it when it first dropped because we both played it.
Holy crap,
Yeah,
that
what an
game,
incredible game.
that
Absolutely incredible.
fucking game is so polished.
Yeah,
It, it's
that's such an amazing game.
it's so fucking good. It's
Yeah.
so good, so beautiful.
Yeah.
The animations are impeccable. The storytelling is amazing. The navigation, not the navigation, but the traversal of you
I
just
really love
following
the
the
story.
waves.
The story of the
Yeah.
game is awesome.
Yeah, so every single quest, being a side quest or the main quest, the story is it's great. I mean, I really love that game, and even being a PS4, like I'm playing Valhalla and on PC,
Yeah.
uh, everything ultra, and all the
Yeah.
frames or whatever. Um, Ghost of Tsushima just looks way better.
You want to hear something really sad?
Mm.
My PS4 is still in the box.
What do you mean still on the box?
So when I moved here,
What?
when I moved here, my whole the whole thing for me like this. So this is my office. I didn't want to have the PS4 in my office because
Yeah.
I work here and it's too distracting. I'm already
Okay.
distracted by my PC being here, but with some of the work stuff that I do, it's good for me to do it on my PC actually because my PC is way better than my shitty work laptop. So if I want to run like 10 instances of Tableau and
Yeah.
Datorama and merge shit, I can do all of that on my PC because I have way more memory and it's just more powerful. But um, I had also just bought the virtual reality headset
Yeah.
and
Remember.
the cockpit stick for the airplane game, which is the fighter game, which is so fun. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I had that shit
But you
in.
you you got motion sickness.
I did the first time. I did the first time. Everybody does because you're not used to that shit.
It's so
But
crazy.
anyways, I sat down in my living room. So when you come visit me in Nashville, you'll see what I mean. So in my living room, I have my television, which is right above my fireplace.
Mm,
There's nowhere to put a PS4.
mm.
There's nowhere to put a PS4, and I can't put it on the floor.
There's always a place if you want to place it.
So unless I drill into the stone wall, okay, just for the sake of mounting a PS4, I'm not gonna have one. So what I could do
Mm,
is mount a television in here, which is probably what I'll do and put the PS4 there. But the other alternative is just to put it in my bedroom. I
mm.
also have a guest bedroom, but if I put it in there, then I don't know, it'd be weird, I guess,
Why?
because it's not. I don't ever spend any time in there, so I guess maybe it might give me a reason to. But
But
yeah.
why is it like? It's interesting how you say like the PS4 is distracting for you in your office while you work.
I have too many toys in here already as it is.
So you will be tempted to play more than
not.
I mean, even having the PC. Like you're more of a PC gamer.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't be that tempted, but there's also the. So I have my cabinet here with Pac-Man and shit. Like this is basically a game room. So the PS4 is gonna come in here anyway. I mean, it's not that tempting. I've just been
Yeah, but it's
lazy.
been what,
I've just
2
been
years?
lazy. It's been a year and a half. It's been a year
Yeah.
and a half. So the other problem is I like things to be, when I set them up, I want them to be perfect. My ideal experience on the PS4 is on a big fucking television
Yeah.
with incredible sound, and that's the experience that I want because that's what I had.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna set it up here in my office on a smaller television,
With a shitty audio.
with not shitty, but the audio's okay, but it's not like it's not like my big fucking subwoofers and my speaker system for my TV downstairs.
Well,
So
let me tell you something. If you really wanted to play PS4, you will find a way to put it like you want it there next to the fireplace or whatever.
I know I'm gonna do it because what I want to do this weekend is actually figure out how to set it up.
Can you just put like a shelf or something where you can
Yeah,
play?
I was thinking of maybe putting a mantle over the fireplace,
Mm.
and then I could sit it on there.
Can you
Also,
can you get it to hover in front of the fireplace?
bro, that now you're talking my language. That would be awesome. Just spinning in midair. That would be perfect. But anyways, my PS4 has been collecting dust in the closet that you see over there in the corner. But I got a lot of shit collecting dust in there. Man, I have not had time really because of this new job to play half the things that I used to play. I don't have time for Magic. I stopped playing Magic altogether. It was too expensive anyways to keep up with all the fucking cards and all the sets every 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So I've really just been playing PC
What are
games.
you playing now?
So I wanted to talk to you about this game. I'm not playing it yet, but I'm looking at
You
playing
sent
it.
me a message like hey, I want to talk about this.
Yeah, Sands of Aura. Have you heard of Sands of Aura? Okay, well, if you want to pull it up now, we can talk about it just so that you can see the official trailer. But you can do if you Google Sands of Aura official trailer Gamescom 2021. And if you share your screen, we can see it together, and we can talk a little bit about it because there's something about it that you're gonna notice right away.
You want us to see it together?
Yeah, let's do it together.
Oh shit! Wait. Okay. So it's an open world. Okay, official trailer. Let me share my screen. I don't do picture in the podcast, so whoever is listening, maybe I can edit it in or whatever. Let's see. I'll figure it out. If anything, people are just going to
Listen to it. That's fine.
listen to it.
That's
Will this
always fine.
share the audio?
It should.
Yeah, share computer audio. Perfect. So there you go. You see it?
Yep. Shashu, Freedom Games.
Talamel is in its twilight.
Talamel está de pinga.
Sands have buried its kingdoms. Corruption unburies its subjects.
Oh,
From such bountiful seeds,
bountiful.
this world has reaped only entropy, chaos, and night.
Sounds like the perfect place for a video
Though
game.
the secrets of Talamel's ruination are entombed below the sea of sand, it's a truth that will not rest.
Ooh.
You already get the Dark Souls vibe, right? The Bloodborne vibe.
I am Liking what I see. That gave me a plot twist. Okay.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Interesting, right? You already see some of like the Dark Souls, Bloodborne type combat where you're swinging big ass weapons.
Yeah,
and
and
you're
the enemy
smashing
design
people.
and everything. And then the isometric camera, which I love.
I love that camera angle. It's like if I had to pick a camera angle for a game today to make, I would pick that one because it gives you the best view, in my opinion, of your character. And it reminds me of WoW, selfishly. Like, I love the fact that I can zoom out and zoom in a little bit. Behind the character is still cool, but the isometric kind of like 360 view that you can have of your characters, the best in
Yeah, I
terms
mean,
of combat.
I like. Have you played The Ascent?
No, but I saw some
Awesome.
trailers.
I mean, it's not the greatest performing game, unfortunately. How do I stop sharing the screen?
You go back to the bottom right where it says share and you unshare.
So yeah, performance wise it's poor, but it's really cool. It's really cool. But so what's up with sense of aura? I didn't pay attention to, or I didn't. Oh, early access October 21. I'm
It's kind of far.
I'm hesitant with the early access
Me
thing, but I mean,
I won't do early access. I'll just play the game when it comes out. Same with New World. Like I think New World has a lot of promise. The Amazon MMO. I'm not really that into fucking pirates and shit. I don't know. It's weird. It's like a weird game. Like I don't get the story.
I don't get MMOs. I'm sorry. I mean, I've tried several of them. I just don't. I can't.
Yeah. It's too much. Es demasiado, yeah. Like they need to chill.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's people who like him. You like him. You enjoy playing WoW, and
I do. I played a lot of MMOs though. I played, a lot of MMOs.
Look,
and
I've tried the Brown game.
The Brown game is actually probably one of the best MMOs, even though it's just brown.
For those who don't know, the Brown game
Skyrim.
is ESO. ESO. I've played ESO. I've played Guild Wars. I've played WoW with you once. I played Black Desert. I've played Final Fantasy 15 or 14.
14, yeah. I played it when it first came out, and have like a level 27 hunter, and never played it again.
I don't know. I just can't stay. I don't know. I don't know if it's the grind. I don't know if it's that I'm not engaged by how things are. I don't know if it's that I don't understand the end game. I don't know. I just I don't. They don't get. I don't get him. I don't get MMOs.
I liked Star Wars: The Old Republic because you could play it like an MMO, or you could play it like a single player game. And so that was fun for me because sometimes I didn't want to play, like raid content.
What's the Star Wars game that's being remade?
I don't know. I know they're remaking another one, but I'm not
sure.
sure.
Yeah. There's but it's the remake, Knight of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic, yes.
Yeah.
KOTR. Yeah.
It's coming out for PS4. Like people were PS5. People were complaining, oh, only PS5, but no, I saw something today that's coming out in PS5 and PC. So
okay, so people will be happier.
Yeah.
What else? Now that you got me thinking, I really want to set up my PS4 in here now, just because I want to play my virtual reality fighter.
Oh yeah, man. And
That means I have to buy a television. So I'm gonna have to go to Target or something and buy a TV.
I mean, you can find a decent TV for, you know, a decent size, decent quality for peanuts these days.
I know. I'm not even worried about that. I'm more worried about the mount and how it's gonna look and where it's gonna
Oh
be.
yeah, perfection.
Yeah, perfection. Like if you see my wall here, it's just literally shelves
Yeah.
with a bunch of toys on them.
Yeah.
So I don't have much room for anything. I gotta
I
figure
mean,
out what the hell I'm gonna do. I
you
might
can
have to
make it
take
happen.
Skeletor down and He-Man. That pisses me off. Or I can hook my PS4 up to one of these monitors because I have 3 on this desk right now and just run it like that.
Maybe. Oh, wait. I haven't told you something, or did I? I don't know. I got a 3070.
You told me. Yes, you told me.
Dude.
Are you running it or you just bought it to have it?
No, I mean, come on. No, dude.
I heard New World couldn't it was crashing like for the beta or something like that. Like
Oh well, yeah, it's still beta or whatever, but with the 3070 of yeah, man, it's really good. It's amazing
awesome.
actually. And I haven't overclocked the card or anything. I'm just running stock right now. And oof, like
Yeah.
it's great. And DLSS, good lord, bro.
Is that the dynamic lighting support? Is that
no,
what that is?
the DLSS is dynamic. I don't know what super sampling, dynamic something super sampling, or D. I don't know what DL is. SS is super sampling. It's basically with AI. The well, what the technology does is renders the game in a lower resolution and then super samples it up to your monitor resolution,
Right.
using AI. So the whole thing is kind of reconstruct the pixels and the image, and it's not like native quality, but it's fucking great.
But it's good. Yeah.
It's really good. I
I
mean,
gotta try that. I'm gonna have to
it's
try it.
it's
You know,
so
I had this conversation with you and JM about like when am I gonna get a new rig and when am I gonna do all that stuff. And so, you know, I was basically told to not even try to buy anything right now. To just wait, you know, until next year when the new
I
socket
was
comes
doing
out.
that, but you know what I did? I got got into some Discord servers that will alert, that are for drop
Oh,
alerts.
this is what you told me that you got the 3070 because you were on the Discord server and
Yeah,
they alerted you and you were like lucky enough to be like
yeah,
the first one to get it.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Because
mean I would do that, but you
because
know,
I
I don't
bought
know.
it MSRP. I didn't pay, the scalpers or whatever. Um,
Good.
I did MSRP. So
So how
yo
much
fui
did you
más
pay?
cheposo que el diablo.
How much was it?
How much was it? I think it was like $700. Eight,
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
less.
800.
No, less. It was like $500.
Damn, that's really good.
It was MSRP. I don't remember. I'm confusing the numbers from the 3080 because actually the 3080 was the one that I was looking for.
Yeah, the one everybody
That was
wants.
the card that I wanted. Because I'm not at 4K and I'm not really looking into getting like a monitor, a 4K monitor or whatever. I'm good with 2K. But I knew that with 3080 I could crank up every game to
The
like
full
nightmare
max.
quality with
Yeah.
the ray tracing and everything.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, and without DLSS, like running native and
Yeah.
everything. Um so I'm stupid like that.
No,
So
you just love the way the games look. You want them to look really good. I can't
yeah,
blame you.
I'm very visual in that sense. Like I do care about gameplay, like you were saying, a lot. And if a game doesn't look great and it has great gameplay, I'm good with it. But for me, graphics and art direction in a game is very important. But
look at Celeste.
oh yeah, Celeste. I've played Celeste so many times.
I know, me too.
I
love it
love
so
that
much.
fucking game.
It's a perfect example of just a pixel
Yeah.
pumper. You know,
But it's
just
beautiful pixel art.
it's
Though.
because the art design is amazing.
Yeah. And have you played Dead Cells?
No,
Oh my god.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's so good. It's a roguelike. It's so fucking good. But the pixel art, it's amazing. It's like one of the best pixel arts I've seen ever, I think. I don't
I
know.
literally got served an ad to learn pixel art on Instagram. It was pretty funny.
Oh really?
Learn pixel art. I was like, yeah, I really need to learn pixel art now so that I can have another distraction. Making little pixel art fucking characters while I'm supposed to be working. Oh man, it's too much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. So what else have you been playing lately?
So that's pretty much been it. I mean, I've been playing Burning Crusade. I've been doing really good actually. I'm not in a guild. I'm in a guild with friends that I played back in 2006. WoW with. So like these are guys that I've been playing WoW for a long time.
Doing classic?
Yeah, classic. The warlock that I'm playing an affliction warlock. I was actually, for some of the fights that we did a couple of weeks ago, I was like one of the top warlocks on my server. I had like, ridiculous parses, really great ranks. That's what keeps me playing, by the way, is once you get to a point with the game where you've collected, the gear that you want and your character looks and feels the way you want it to play, then the goal is to try to improve your performance on bosses from week to week. And so I do this, I follow this thing called Warcraft logs. Every boss fight that we do, all of our logs get uploaded to Warcraft logs so we can compare our performance to other people on the server and other people in our guild so that we can get better and better and better. And that's just like a stupid analytics ADD mind of mine. Like I'm always looking at numbers and trends and shit like that. So it's fun for me. It's almost like a game within the game, which is to, not about the story at that point anymore or the lore or the gameplay or anything like that. I've played this game for 20 years. Like it's literally just about, improving that performance week over week and then doing it with some friends that, are just fun to play with. The name of my guild is Dad. Like we're all dads. We're all dads. So, we're all dads. We all have kids. We're all married or were married at some point, and we don't have much time to play. Yeah. So the time that we have, we spend it and we have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty much it. It's just about having fun. So I've been playing Burning Crusade Classic. I've been playing, Overwatch. I played the beta, the Diablo 2 Resurrected beta. I've also been doing a lot of writing. I bought a free write, which I was going to show you. Let me see.
Let me see it. I've been writing too.
So this is a free write.
Okay. I'm not going to say it here in the podcast because I'm not going to tell everybody what I'm writing about. But what is that?
It's a briefcase.
Oh, okay.
And look at what's inside.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Look at that. You see Ernest Hemingway's face?
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Look, this velvet shit, and there's like a pocket here. Anyways, this is a typewriter. This is a typewriter. And hold on, let me pull it out so you can see it.
So you're writing in a typewriter. You're being
so this is a typewriter.
That kind of hipster at a Starbucks with a typewriter.
I don't go to Starbucks because I hate Starbucks. I go to this little coffee shop, but I'm that asshole at the coffee shop with the typewriter. No, it's literally a typewriter.
That's so cool.
I'm going to turn it on.
Yeah.
So you can see it. So it turns on. You can see some of the shit that I was writing there. It's got some settings here for Wi-Fi, so you can connect to Wi-Fi. And then you can have 3 versions of your drafts that you're working on. There's 1, 2, and 3. Wow. But Digita, the reason that I'm using this, and you might be able to appreciate this, I my biggest problem with writing is not that I can't write. I can, when I sit down to write, I feel pretty good about what I'm writing and I can start writing. I don't need to be inspired to write. Like if you have to be inspired to write, you'll never write because, you know, shit, imagine having to be inspired every day. It doesn't work that way. But
I mean, can
it's
we
good
stop
if you,
there for a second?
it's good if you can be inspired every day. Good for you, you know, but the
Well, I mean,
reality is, you know, you
not to
can't, like,
write.
it's not sustainable to be, coño, tremenda inspiración siempre. Like, you know,
No,
you
no,
might
no.
be
But
living on a
let's.
cloud.
I think you have to have an inspiration, one first inspiration. For me, what I'm interpret by inspiration is that moment where you have an idea and you start in your head developing it, and then you sit down and write. And
Right.
and that's the moment where it's hardest to sit down and write.
It is, because it's scary to look at a blank screen and try to get that inspiration down.
But then I agree with what you're saying. If you're waiting for that to happen every time, then you're never gonna write.
Right. You need to figure out how to take that inspiration and stretch it out over like the length of your project or the length of what it is that you're doing. Hemingway used to say that he would stop writing when he knew what was going to happen next in his story. So like if he was writing a particular section, he would, and he's like, okay, I know exactly where the character is going to go next. He would stop so that he would still have something that when he came and sat down again the next day to write, he knew exactly where he was going to go. And he also had another rule, which was only read the last like couple pages that you just wrote. Don't go all the way back to the beginning because then you're going to go fucking crazy every time. So these are not hard and fast rules. Some of them work for some writers, some don't work for other writers. These are just the rules that work for me.
Why did you get the typewriter?
So the reason why I got this thing is because it's an electronic typewriter, and for the purposes of writing, it is very good for this one small fact. I cannot edit on it.
Ooh.
There's no editing. Okay, it's just like a typewriter where if once you type it, that's what it is. Like, yeah, you can press backspace a couple times, you know, to like edit the sentence that you're on. But once you've gone beyond that sentence, that's it. Like, you just got to keep going.
Oh, no, I can't do
The
that.
purpose is to increase your productivity. So I've gone from writing like 200, 300 words a day to writing almost 1,000 words a day, Tigre. Like for the last week, I've written almost 10,000 words, and it's only been a week. And
okay, but
now I have to edit all of that.
Exactly.
Okay,
How do you
it.
edit then when you're done with your draft? Because I'm gonna assume that the first thing that you're gonna write in the typewriter, which that you cannot edit, it's gonna end up being your first draft. That first draft, of course, you gotta go through it and clean it and maybe polish and maybe change things.
Yeah, of
to
course.
make it, make sense throughout or whatever. How do you do that with that? Do you download the thing, the book or the story in a file and then you edit, or what?
Yeah, so what this allows you to do is once you finish writing, you press send at the bottom and it sends it to your email in PDF or in text. And so what I've done is before I even start writing, I started using Scrivener. I don't know if you know what Scrivener is. So you know Scrivener. So Scrivener, in my Scrivener, I've already got all of my scenes outlined. I've got all of my characters sketched. I've got all my research in Scrivener. And I've got my, there's things in Scrivener that you can do, like you do scene cards, you can move them around. And so what I do in the morning is I look at my scene and I say, okay, this is the scene I'm going to write today.
Yeah.
And then I just go with that. Like in my mind, that's what I then use this fucking, paperweight for, is to write that scene with no interruptions. I literally put my phone on airplane mode and I sit down, I take my watch off, I put it in front of me because I wouldn't have the time any other way, and I just write. And then I write usually for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and then I stop and I look at what I'm doing, and I kind of, maybe if I need to write some more, but that's been pretty consistent for the last week. And I've been doing it at the bookstore here in Mount Juliet. because, you know, I used to do it a lot in the coffee shops in Coral Gables, and you knew that. But I used to write like with my I used to write with my pen and paper and shit, and that was fun too. But I don't know if you remember what happened to me. I had my bag stolen.
Yeah, I remember.
And when
From
they
your
stole
car.
my bag, they stole, you know, I had 4 moleskins full of poetry and writing. And when they stole that from me, I basically just stopped writing. Like I didn't write anything until I got here to Tennessee. And it was about 6 months ago that I started writing again.
You know, that a similar thing happened to me. I had a lot of stuff written, a lot, and I had compiled it into a Word document.
Mhm.
And I was just like, you know, maybe self-publish something or whatever. And my apartment got broken into.
Oh, that's
They
right. You
they
told
stole
me.
my computer.
Yeah.
From there, I'm sorry. From there, I just started. I don't know. I already had that, but I think I started, instead of having everything in a Word document or different documents, I started putting it in a blog,
Oh, okay.
blogger.com or something
Yeah.
like blogspot.com, I think. So I opened a blog. It was in private. Nobody could see it, but and if I go today, everything is there.
Yeah.
I stopped writing like those kind of stuff for a while. After I wrote that movie, Sin Ella, I haven't written like that kind of like poetry or small little, you know, I don't know, prosa y corta. Um, I stopped doing that. But after the movie, I started writing. Uh, I s- I didn't. I haven't been writing as much.
Yeah.
But when I sit down and write, it's more about trying to write a story, a script. I have started a script for a movie idea. But now what I'm doing is writing a story. Just as I mean, I think it's gonna end up being, if I ever finish it, right? Hopefully I do.
You're gonna finish it. You're gonna finish it.
It's gonna
I'm
be more
sure.
like a novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to talk to you about that because
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love
yeah,
to collaborate with you on a
I'm
novel.
not. I'm not gonna say it here, but
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
don't let the cat out of the bag.
yeah, and I do. I also started writing a game.
No way.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Well, so when I started writing again, I had this PTSD because I lost all my shit, and I was like, man, if I lose all my poems again, I'm gonna go crazy. So I
Come
did
on,
what
man.
you did. I started uploading shit to the cloud. I have all my files saved in
Yeah,
different
yeah. Do
places.
a Dropbox or
I've done,
something.
you know, I have Dropbox, I have my website, I have different spots now, and I started writing poetry again,
Nice.
and some of the poems have been really, really good. I'm not just saying that because I wrote them. I'm saying it because other people are like, "Wow, that's actually pretty good," and somebody was like, "Manny, why don't you try to?" So I live next door to a drummer for a band.
Oh,
You know, I
cool.
live in Music Town, so
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
around me
definitely.
is in a band.
Yeah.
You know, literally super popular bands and just no name bands are all over here.
Mhm.
Um, and my next door neighbor, he's a drummer for a band, and his guitarist came over, and I showed him this poem, and he's like, "You can sell this to any artist, and they'll make music out of it. Like, why don't you just set this to music?" And I said, "Well, you know, I don't know if I want to sell my poems as music, you know." But he's like, "Well, look, if you ever need money, you can totally do this." So I just wanted to make you aware of that. There's a market here for people that write poetry to ghostwrite music lyrics.
But 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 have you ever thought of making an audiobook of your poems produced with music? Like you read them
And
as
there's music there.
poem and there's music.
I would do it if I could get James Earl Jones to read the poems.
I'm gonna show you something that I did just to so you understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I'm gonna share screen now so I can share the audio. Um, and it's this.
Despierta, despierta, despierta. A eso traduce aquel sonido de marimba que sale del teléfono móvil, aunque esté en silencio, a la hora en el que el tiempo se petrifica. En no más de 3 repeticiones él lo apaga, con sutileza, no con los que de ser real lo que pretenden, obligarían al reemplazo de paredes y puertas. Se levanta, con trabajo. Le cuesta tanto como si estuviese aún anestesiado, tras una operación mayor, de pecho abierto y ahijado, pero una lámpara realmente no importa, al menos no tanto, lo que se lleva por delante antes de llegar a la ducha y lo que se le atraviesa luego de alivianar las culpas.
Okay, so that's a little.
intense. I want to hear "Grab Her by the Pussy." That's the one I want to hear.
That's a song I made with I sampled Trump saying that. You remember when that came out?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember. I
I'm
remember.
gonna-
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
play
think
a-
one of those likes on there is me. I remember this.
Where is it? There you go.
Grab him by the pussy.
But maybe that's a cool project. I did something else too like that, and it was me reading what I wrote. I
You know
was
what
actually
this reminds me of? This reminds me of like a Tool video.
what?
The
Oh,
whole
this little graphic.
that graphic and the
Yeah.
vibe that I just got from that poem.
Oh
and the
no, come
sound.
on. No, not at all.
Yeah, man.
This one I wrote, and I did with. It's not as abstract as the other one in terms of music, and it's me actually reading it. So
Here.
it's starting. It kind of comes up. Very simple. It's just a bass and a drum.
I was gonna say, is this Let's Claypool?
There's a guitar solo, but it's very simple. Oh, and a piano. When I start reading, a piano comes. And I intentionally made so you don't clearly understand it. But
Soy un poeta que no escribe, con tinta que se evapora con solo suspirar, un corazón lleno de amor que no sabe amar, y unos tales recuerdos pendientes.
That's really cool, man.
Soy un poeta
Thank you.
que no escribe, que inoportunos intentos de inspiración se me mueren.
So there's a little guitar solo. So yeah, that's so. What I'm trying to say is maybe there's an idea there for your poetry. It doesn't have to be, I'm dark in with my music and shit. So whatever you like, and you're in Music Town, maybe you can find, or maybe I can help you produce the tracks or whatever, and you find someone to read it, or you read it yourself, and we can make a cool project.
That'd be really cool. You know what? The reason I just realized now why I thought it sounded like Tool, because there are several Tool songs that start with people talking.
Oh yeah.
You know, Maynard loves doing that shit. He loves,
Well,
and he
you
grabs
remember
sound bites
that-
from everything.
Yeah, remember that one of the Italian guy?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. You know, it's like, okay, well, you're just gonna say that 10 times over this track.
But you know what? You know the story behind that track? I don't remember what it says, but it's supposed to be a voicemail that someone left him.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't remember why, noise or whatever, but he was telling him he's gonna kill him and whatever.
There's also another one where he's got I don't know why it's not Tool, it's Deftones.
Yeah.
Where they have it's called when it's like When Girls Telephone Boys, I think is the name of the song, or there's another one. Anyways, they just have their fucking voicemail. Their voicemail recording. And it's just like 10 recordings back to back with a guitar riff in the background.
That's so cool.
And it's just like, it's not really a song, but is it? Who's to say that it's not a song? It doesn't rhyme, and there's really no lyrics, but it sounds really cool. And I jammed the hell out of it, because it sounds really cool. It's really about how it makes you feel. I mean, I guess you could think of it as whatever you want. As part of the album, I think it makes really cool. Cool addition to the album.
And this is something I was actually, I don't remember where I heard this or read this or saw this, but what is music?
That's a great question. I don't have like an answer. I think if you were to ask the story bots, because you remember I have a 4-year-old child, and they give you like the literal definition of music. It is timbre. What is it? Timbre, rhythm, beat, and one other thing that I can't remember right now. Like the orchestration of it.
But that's as an art. Let's say the more scientific definition of music, what view as not necessarily as an art form, but viewed as something that is manifested by culture or by living beings, not necessarily humans. And this is what was interesting, because in this it was a podcast, I think, and the conversation was about music, and someone saying, one side saying, well, we are the only creatures who are capable of making music. And the other guy, the more, I guess, scientific person or whatever, was saying, well, I mean, no, animals can make music too. And the other guy was like, what do you mean? Well, a bird, if you think of music, of organized sound, or sounds with an order, then a bird makes music.
Right.
Or, animals make music when they organize their sound to communicate or do whatever they do by making their sounds. And that for me was like, oh shit.
Yeah. That's something right there.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, you can take all of the sounds that animals make. I mean, the sounds of nature are music, right? The sound of a volcano or the sound of rain. I feel like all of that is music too. That's just my personal belief.
That's where I'm going. Like, that's because it depends also. It's subjective to the observer or the listener, I guess. Because if you listen, okay, I'm not gonna say me. What happens to me a lot, I'm very musical, right? I've been I love music, and I've been playing music for a long time, and I have that in my veins. Music for me, it's one of my passions. It has always been. So it's when I heard that conversation, and now that I'm talking to you, it was like, I find rhythm and melody in the weirdest places.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, and this is gonna sound very stupid, but sometimes I'm chewing something, and I make a rhythm chewing that. Let's say gum or whatever.
Yeah.
And I make a rhythm, and I'm conscious in my head of that rhythm, of that rhythm. And I start, on there, just like for no reason, playing that, chewing something, eating with a rhythm.
You know what I think music allows us to do, when the way you're describing it now, it's not just another way of communicating, but it's also a way of making sense of the world. Because I think that's something that humans just struggle with. Obviously, we live in a very chaotic universe, and a comet could come hit us tomorrow, and that would be the end of all of this. No more video games, no more podcasts. Otro freaking comet would be the name of the next podcast. It allows us to make sense of the world, and I am similar in a way, because maybe I don't have your musical background or talent, but I see things and I see patterns in them. And that's
Yeah.
why I think I like my work as an analyst, because I look at a lot of patterns every day and I find patterns in everything. And that's why I don't think what you're saying, it doesn't sound stupid at all. It makes perfect sense to me, because that's one of the things that we do. We try to make patterns out of things. And going back to the whole thing about writing a story, one thing that I've realized, and this may apply to music as well,
Mm.
The best stories are the ones that interrupt your pattern.
Oh shit.
And that's what I'm learning.
Wow, you just hit me hard.
That's what I'm learning. And that's why I have so much momentum in what I'm writing, because I figured out early on what I want my story to be about and how it interrupts this pattern of how people think about things. And that's actually what makes it enticing. Now, a plot is not a story. So I'm not just talking about plot. I'm talking about a story. And so it's something that I'm continuing to explore. And I'll give you an example. What if the internet vanished tomorrow?
What if the internet vanishes
Tomorrow,
tomorrow?
gone. That would
Okay.
interrupt a lot of patterns.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So from a story perspective, you've got something there, right? You can use that. You can say, okay, I can
Well,
actually create a story.
everyone's life is a pattern, right? Like you
Yeah.
wake up, you brush your teeth, take a shower, go to work.
But that moment from when you wake up
Mm.
to when you have that first sip of cafecito,
Yeah. Mm.
it's just chaos, bro. It's just chaos. You don't know what the day is gonna bring. Your mind is still waking up. Are you really sure that it is a pattern in that point? Maybe the way that you go, maybe, yeah, I guess you have patterns where you brush your teeth and you have a routine, but a routine is not the same as a pattern.
Well, I was talking about this with someone. Not about this, but about what I'm gonna say, which you reminded me of that. Everything in the universe is organized, right? Like, think about it. The planets are going around the sun, right? There's nothing interrupting that. We can literally predict where the moon is going to be 500 years from now, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, to a very certain degree of accuracy.
In September, September 10th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 523 years from now, we can tell, well, the moon is going to be there.
Yeah.
At that precise second. We can do that because the entire universe, it's kind of,
it's organized chaos.
It's organized.
But it's organized.
No, the chaos is us, because we can actually decide how we're going to move, what we're going to do, what we're going to say. Like, the moon is just rotating. And
well, let me ask you this. Are we actually deciding, or is it the illusion of choice?
Well, that's another thing. What I'm trying to say is we are chaos because we are not set on a constant path. We create paths. We create the multiverse, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, because we actually can perceive chaos in our minds, and we can also perceive infinity.
Well, what we do every day is organize that chaos in a pattern.
Right. That's what I mean. Yes,
so
exactly.
Our constant battle in life and in everything is actually trying to organize the chaos that we are.
And how do you organize the chaos? And what you and I are saying makes perfect sense.
So it happens. So it's not uncertain. So you want to make something to happen. You want to make something work in a certain way. So all of your effort, like let's into our stuff. Well, not your stuff anymore, but advertising.
Hey, that's still my stuff.
Well, I mean, so advertising, when we're in a production, what are we doing? What we're doing is actually putting in order all of the chaos that we are, all of the possibilities of what can happen, and making it just one.
You're actually
Like
just
the
making a
universe.
story.
Like the
You're
universe. The universe is just one possibility
Yep.
that hasn't happened, but it's there in the numbers. It's gonna happen. If the sun, we're no to a precision probably, when I mean we as a human race, not me, but maybe some, you know, expert in NASA or whatever knows precisely how many in how many years to the second the sun is going to explode.
Well, it's 43 million, I think.
Well, you know, it's because nothing else can happen there. We're the only ones that live in this quantic way of endless possibilities because we can choose those possibilities. But at the same time, everything we do every day is make that possibility one, force it to be just one because this is the outcome I want.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, we could get into a discussion about if we're the only beings in the universe that can actually think about this.
Oh well, that's
that's a whole nother conversation. But
yeah.
I did recently listen to a TED talk by a lady named Lisa Crone, who's actually been really helpful to me in the writing process. And what she says is, you know, the way that we make sense of the universe is by telling stories, because stories reveal patterns, and also stories ground us in things that we are familiar with. And so what you just described makes perfect sense. It, you know, every day we go through a similar routine, which becomes more or less our pattern. And once that pattern is interrupted with something, is when we actually start to fucking think about it. And it's crazy because you could go your whole day not caring about a lot of the shit that you're doing because you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Because you expect those things to happen.
Yeah.
But the minute that something changes about the pattern, that's when it actually matters to you. So I'm using those theories to write a story that has some elements of it that are designed to shake up, you know, the way that the brain processes information. That's basically what I'm trying to do. And so I love the idea that music can do that, because music is also a way that, you know, stories were told probably in primitive man. You know, the very first beat that was laid down, right? It was for a purpose. It might have been to tell a story, but it might have also been to warn of oncoming danger, or to, you know, I mean, the fight or flight response, right? That is the most primitive thing that we have as human beings, our limbic brain. So I think that there's a lot of really cool subject matter there. I'm going to continue to explore it. The typewriter helps because it doesn't, you know, I have ADD. So like if I can just have something that says type, you can't edit, you just have to write, Manny. I can do that. Now, you don't need to buy that. You can just put your laptop on airplane mode, but there's still a lot of distractions on your laptop and your computer, you know, and you can go back and edit if you want to.
I was going to say that, like, what I don't know about the editing part, because I don't
that's
know
just me personally, because I like to
I
edit while I write, and it crushes my productivity.
I was going to say, because I'm writing and I am, and maybe this is bad. Maybe what you're telling me is what I need just to write. But I tend to go back and forth because I know where I want to land, and this is something. This is taking inspiration, but I'm such a nerd. This was taken in inspiration by looking at a presentation by Yoko Taro, the Nier Automata, the Nier series director. And I, more than a game director, I see him a lot like a writer. He's more of a writer more than, actually his credit is creative director. But anyways, I saw his presentation, and he was explaining how he works his stories backwards. He knows the ending, and then he works backwards from there. So I had this idea where, not because of him or not because I saw this or because I saw this presentation, but I had this idea, and it's kind of the um not the ending, but it's not necessarily, it's somewhere that I want to land in my story. So at the moment I'm kind of working backwards from there, but not even necessarily working backwards from there. I know that I want to land there, and I'm just writing. And I actually, uh, um contrary to I think you mentioned Hemingway,
Yeah.
that he writes when he knows what next thing is gonna happen.
Yeah, he stops writing so that he has the momentum. You know, it's
Yeah,
leave a little ink in the well.
I kind of write, and I figure it out as I write.
Well, that's totally normal because the truth is, a lot of the characters that I've started creating, at certain points, they start doing things on their own.
Yeah,
They start doing they start making decisions that I didn't even want them to make, but it's because I have to keep going with what they're doing. You
yeah,
know, I have a character right now that my first thought of this character was going to be that they were actually this is a detective story, so they
hmm,
were responding to a murder, right? There's been a homicide, and so they're going to go and check it out. And I had originally had him starting out at his mom's house. My whole story was that he lived with his mom.
yeah,
And so I started writing that, and I'm like, okay, it's a perfect morning. They wake up, he wakes up, he stretches, he's doing his thing. He goes downstairs, he puts on his earbuds, he starts listening to some music, and his mom's like, hey, I have breakfast on the table. And I realized this is boring as fuck. I don't want this. This doesn't excite me at all. If I was reading this, I would put this down already. I'm done. So it needs to be a little bit more, the character needs to be a little bit more real, right?
yeah, hmm,
So I went back and I said, what would this character do, and how would he find out about the murder and all that? So I switched it up, and the very first thing that happens is he wakes up because he's getting a phone call that the
hmm,
murder has happened, and it's his partner on the other line, and he says, "Hey, are you awake, Sleeping Beauty?" And he's like, "Well, now I am." That
yeah,
sounds like a real conversation, right? That
yeah,
doesn't sound like a fairy tale Disney movie. And
yeah, yeah,
so and it's also, guess what, you don't normally wake up to somebody telling you there's been a murder. That also breaks the pattern. that
hmm,
also
hmm,
that also kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing. But I was going to show you something from this book that I was reading about writing, but I can't find it right now. But it literally says, write the end of your story.
Oh,
Write
okay.
the end of your story so you know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I think that's a great strategy.
And you just told me something about breaking the pattern. That's also nerd me fanboy here. That's something that it's very
It's also useful for advertising, by the way.
oh yeah, yeah, being disruptive.
Right.
That's the
That's
one
the
of
bread
the
and butter.
yeah, that's one of the keywords that people like to say to sound
That's what David
professional.
loves to say.
Yeah, 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 disruptive. But what I was gonna say, a fanboy here is again Yoko Taro is one of his main focuses on when he is directing a game is turning around your expectations constantly. And you remind me of that when you say breaking the pattern, because that's literally what he does. Like, I don't know, you haven't played that game, Near Automata, but it's like every single thing that happens in the game, it's something unexpected. Like from the beginning of the game,
That's
it's like,
awesome.
what the fuck is going on? Why is it? I mean, even even starting the game for the first time and you don't know what the fuck it is, but
You're
you've
hooked.
seen you've seen the cover with this, kind of BDSM people, the girl with the short skirt and her butt hanging out, and all that, and then you see the trailers where you see this third person camera, but the actual game starts with the top view little navecita,
Yeah.
like a bullet hell thing. It's like, what? Like the first time I played the game, I was like, what the fuck did I buy?
Yeah, that must have been weird. But you know what? You were hooked.
Oh no,
You were
yeah. I
hooked.
mean, but the first line of that game just hooked me up because it's a very existential question that the game right away throws at you. And I'm a fan of well, not a fan, but I was for some time I was very interested in existentialism. But
Well, how about the opening scene of Ninja Gaiden, where you finally make it to that first boss, and you walk into that room, and then the movie scene comes, and you get shot.
oh yeah.
You're not expecting that. You're expecting you're an invincible ninja, and you just
Yeah.
got shot.
Yeah,
Like that's great storytelling. That's
exactly.
great. And the story is not about the ninja getting shot.
Oh
That's
no.
just
Just
it's
a
just
device
it's
to
just a device. It's
yeah.
literally something to keep the plot moving. But it's better than saying, "Well, you were captured." Like that's fucking boring. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Being
Make it
shot is
make
way better.
hurt. You got to hurt your characters. You have to put them through hell because you know what? They're going to become better for it.
Well, in the first season, the main character dies. What am I talking about?
Oh, I mean, how many movies is that? Wait, how many shows is that? Like, I can throw Game of Thrones out there. I can
Of course,
throw,
that's the game.
yeah,
That's the show I'm talking about.
yeah,
In the fucking first season, the main character is killed.
yeah.
It's
Spoiler
like
alert.
what?
Spoiler alert for the podcast. We won't tell you who it is, and if you don't know by now, you've been living under a rock.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
we didn't. I mean,
you don't even have to say who it is. But one does not simply walk into Mordor.
exactly.
That's a hint.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, I'm glad that you're still, doing your music thing. I'm glad that you have this podcast going. I really appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, you
It's
can
always
come
fun to catch up with you,
anytime you
and
want.
yeah, I think I would love to come back on and do some more talking about what we're doing now, because the writing and the music is really a big part of my life right now. Um,
Yeah, Nashville,
in
and
Nashville,
it's a
and
combination of Manny and Nashville.
that's right. It's Nashville. It's Mashville.
Nashville.
So, um, I do miss Miami. I was there last week for a little bit, but
Last week?
yeah, but I was only there like for a day because I went to Key West with my wife, and
Mm.
then we came back, and then I flew back to Nashville. We took a little vacation for our anniversary, so
Oh,
I just did a
nice.
little anniversary trip. But yeah,
Cool. Bueno, yo creo que ya este episodio is long
yeah,
enough, right?
but yeah, I mean, hey, we had a lot of catching up to do,
What what
but
what what's gonna be the title of this episode? I have no clue because we talked about so many things.
I think a
Uh,
good title for this episode would be
mm,
um breaking the pattern.
breaking the pattern. That's gonna be the title. Okay, cool. So Manny, thank you so much, man. Miss you.
Thank
Miss
you,
you
my
a
man. I
lot.
miss you a lot, bro.
We gotta plan getting together soon.
You gotta come to
Hopefully,
Nashville.
yeah,
Come
I was gonna
soon.
say that. But the news scare me
Don't be scared, man.
with the virus
Don't
there
watch the news.
in
By the
in
way,
your
did you know that
southern
the
state
Amish and the Aborigines have never gotten COVID?
because they're isolated.
No, because they don't watch television.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay,
Pues sí,
man.
loco.
Nah, man. Cuídate. Thank you so
Cuídate.
much.
Peace.
Muchísimas gracias. Love you, bro.
Igualmente. Bye.
Bye.
Love you, man.